Hey everybody, welcome to the screencast. It's Mr. S talking to you today about division again, this time with decimals, but more decimals, and hopefully this wraps up our dividing unit. Let's review steps to do while dividing, while doing long division. First of all, we're going to divide, multiply, and bring down whatever our product is when we multiply. In this case, 3 times 2 is 6. Subtract, and then after that subtraction, that number, great place to look, in this case it's a 1, like here, don't need that, tells us that it's less than the divisor, so we're in good shape. Bringing down the next column, and then repeating all over again. That's what we're going to be doing. We've talked a lot about, hey, could you please use graph changing paper? Notice a lot of the flubs and little mistakes that we're making currently and miscues are simply because we're not keeping things in a nice straight line, keeping things in columns. And today you'll see why that might be even the most important thing we're going to be doing. All right, let's get to it, shall we? The actual division. Here's one. We have 1 71/100 divided by 9/10. Let's set that up. First comes our den. Thank you to Gauge B for that great idea. Here we go. Inside goes the dividend, which is the first number, 1 71/100. Any confusing here? And over here as our divisor today, we're going to put 9/10. Well, that's a little different. That's the one thing that's different than we've noticed over the last 2 screencasts. So that decimal in the divisor, right here, we have to do something with that as a first step. I would really like to change this to a whole number by simply bouncing 1 to the right. Now we have 9. And if I bounce over there, I also have to bounce in our dividend. Bounce it here, and then straight up comes our decimal, and we're ready to go. Let's multiply. Say some number times 9 that gives me 17 left over. Well, it can't be 2 because that's 18, so I'm just going to say 1. When I subtract, I have 8, and then I'm going to bring down the 1. I think we're getting really good at this after all this practice. Now I need to take a look at, starting all over again, this column right here. Again, if I was on life-changing paper, that would be beautiful. And we have 81. 9 times some number gives me 81. Well, 9 times 9 gives me 81. Do our subtraction, and we get to 0. See a 0 here. That's a good indicator I might be done, but I need to check here. Is there anything still need to work on? Nope, there's nothing there. So my answer must be 1 9/10. That's an example where in our divisor we had a tenth. What about a divisor? Well, in this case, is a hundredths. What do we do with that? Well, first of all, we set up same way we did that last screen in our last problem. And our dividend, thank you, Gauge. We're going to put our 9 thousandths. And over here is our divisor. We have 1800ths. Now, on that last screen, we had to change a tenth to a whole number. Well, in this case, we're going to change a hundredth to a whole number by bouncing not once, but bounce, bounce twice. And now I have 18 right there. Now, if I do it over here in our divisor, the dividend also has to have a bounce, bounce. And our new location of our decimal is right there. I could say that 18 times some number gives me 0. That's 0. 0 here also. Now I need to take a look at this 9. 18 times some number that, without going over, is 9. Well, there are no numbers other than 0. So I'm going to put a 0 there. And put 0 here. Now I'm going to do my subtraction. 9. And that seems to check out. 9 is less than 18. I'm in good shape. I need to add a new place value there just because I'm not quite done yet. I am not going to just leave that 9 hanging down there. Let's change that to 90. Are there any numbers times 18 that give me 90? Well, let's think a minute. What if I tried 5? 8 times 5, of course, is, you got it, it's 40. I'm going to carry the 4. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 4 is 9, and voila, we found it. Do our subtraction. Leaving us with 0. We have 0 there. We have 0 up here as kind of a hang on or a remainder, which means we're done, and that feels good. How about taking a look at one quick word problem in the setup? This might help those of us that are maybe struggling a little bit with word problems, specifically maybe this evening on our work at home. The question is, how many times as many internet users are there in Japan than in Spain? Let's round to the nearest 10th. First of all, I guess today in class, we started by getting rid of all the non-essential data. Don't need that. I don't need that. I do need the Japan. I don't need France. I do need Spain, but I don't need Canada. I do like Canada, but I just don't need their numbers today. And this is a division problem, and it's asking us to round to the nearest 10th. In order to speed up the process a little bit, let's take a look at the setup. Yes, that's our problem. We're going to take 127 and 4/10 and divide it by 40 and 4/10. Why? It's because we're comparing Japan to Spain. Quick way of doing the division. Wow, that was fast. Comes out to 3 and 5/10. We're asked to round to the nearest 10th. That 5 there in our quotient is definitely telling me that that needs to grow up. And of course, I don't want to be sizist, but it's the truth. Our answer should be 3 and 2/10, or 3 and 2/10 times bigger. Ladies and gentlemen, that's our last lesson on division. Please bring great questions to us and email us, please, some great questions. And since I say questions, ladies and gentlemen, that is the math you should know.